Let's get started. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Road to Your Home Roundtable series by One Part Condo. Each week, we've brought you a panel of veteran real estate experts to break down the latest trends and topics in the real estate market and what they mean for home buyers. Today's our fifth and final episode where we'll be covering the future of real estate after COVID-19. My name is Richard Lorenzen. I'm the CEO of public relations firm Fifth Avenue Brands, and I'll be moderating today's discussion. We'll also be taking some Q&A at the end, so if you have any questions, feel free to type them into the messenger and we'll get to as many of them as we can. We have a lot to unpack today, so without further ado, I'll introduce our panel and I'm gonna ask each of them to share a little bit about themselves. First, we have Nikki Field, the founder of the Field Team, the #1 sales team at Sotheby's International Realty. Nikki, could you share a few words about yourself?
A broker by choice, and I intend to stay that way for many more years. What's interesting about my particular business is the strength of our team. We're all specialists, and we do a tremendous amount of outside of our local community sales, meaning domestic and international. And that certainly is something that we're looking forward to building on in the coming days.
Perfect. And next we have Emma Howe, the founder of the Emma Howe team, which is one of the top producing teams at Douglas Elliman. Emma, could you share a little bit about yourself?
Hi everyone. Emma Howe actually is a beginner from China originally. And so in 2009, and that was American, that was in recession economically. So and I thought, that's the time for Chinese come to grab real estate. That's how I started. And then so my prediction worked very well. So soon, in 3 years' time, so I created my team, and then we consecutively made like a Diamond Award in Douglas Elliman, and then Technical Award another 3 years consecutively until 2019. So now here we are.
Perfect. Thanks, Emma. I just want to remind everybody really quickly, when you're not speaking, if you wouldn't mind muting your mic, this way we don't get any kind of background noise that interferes with being able to hear the speakers. I think that will help us be able to hear everybody a little bit better. So next up, we have Anthony Kazazis. Anthony's the CEO of the New York City Network Group. You may know them from putting on the famous New York City Real Estate Expo each year. Anthony, could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, thank you, Richard, and thank you, Kelly, for having me on your webinar this morning. I am the director and CEO of the NYC Network Group, as well as the NYC Real Estate Expo. We've been 12 years in New York City with our trade show. The venue has been at the New York Hilton, and it's a show that caters to a lot of the real estate related professionals. And we have about 150 exhibitors growing, and about over 100 speakers, whether they're solo speakers or panelists. We've had Nikki Field as well as Cathy Hobbs as well, that's on this panel at our show. And we hope that the show will happen in November 2nd. And if not, we have an alternative date, which is going to be June 23rd at the Hilton. Thank you and welcome. Thank you, Richard.
Cathy Hobbs. Cathy is one of New York's leading interior designers and home stagers. She's also an award-winning TV host in real estate. Cathy, welcome. Could you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. I'm Cathy Hobbs, and I own an interior design company, but we specialize in real estate staging and styling as it relates to both resales and new developments. My background is in television. I was a newscaster for over 20 years, worked for NBC in Washington, D.C., more than a decade at Channel 11 here in New York, and own a production company that produces Channel 11's real estate and design series. And now, post-COVID, I have combined my staging company with my production company to form a hybrid company that's going to be essentially doing real estate staging and styling and video production services for our agents. So from 360 tours to virtual tours, we're going to be offering that complimentary as a way to really bring an elevated marketing tool to our agents. So that's a little bit about me and my company.
Perfect. And finally, we have Taryn Byron. Taryn's an associate broker at Nest Seekers, and she also serves as the director of sales at One Park Condos. Taryn, can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Taryn Byron. I am the associate broker at Nest Seekers and sales director at One Park, as Richard mentioned. I also lead up the New Jersey New Development Division for Nest Seekers and have done real estate more than half my life. I was born into a real estate family and live in New Jersey's Gold Coast. So it's an honor to be here and share in today with this amazing panel of professionals. So thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you. So before we jump into it, I also wanted to introduce One Park Luxury Condos, the sponsor of this roundtable series. Located in Cliffside Park, New Jersey, One Park is a 14-story luxury residence containing 204 upscale units. They feature expansive views of the New York City skyline. You can see a little bit about the building there on your slide. And you can also learn more about them at oneparkcondosnj.com. Okay, so let's jump into the first question. And this question is going to be to Nikki, Emma, Taryn, and Anthony, so we can work in that order. How has the pandemic, COVID-19, changed where people want to live? For example, living in a city, living in the suburbs. Have you seen the current environment change people's preferences at all? We'll start with Nikki.
Oh, thank you so much, Richard. Yes, definitely. Everything's on the table right now. I would say that buyers and sellers are in a consideration period, looking at all their options, certainly doing their research on how they personally are going to be exiting COVID-19. What does that mean? There's been a tremendous amount of dialogue about if people stay in New York, if they aren't going to stay in New York, where they'll be going. Previously, people that were not interested in selling may be now. And I think everybody's looking at this as somewhat of a silver lining. And I truly believe this, that the reboot of the market as we exit the virus will be finding people reevaluating their lifestyles, increasing their focus on not only where they want to live, but how they want to live. And what does that mean for New Yorkers and those that live in the region? I believe it's real opportunity. Buyers will be very motivated to buy because clearly there'll be a market correction in pricing and opportunity. And sellers will be very motivated to sell. It's going to be a perfect storm to reboot our real estate industry. And just like historically was proven after 9/11 and again in 2008 after the mortgage crisis, real estate will probably, most probably, lead the cash deployment and revitalize our economy again. I'm certainly looking forward to that.
Emma, what do you think? You also lead one of the top real estate sales teams in Manhattan. What are you seeing?
Most of my clients, and they hold on it because it's panic. So people don't know what later on what's going to happen. And but a small group of people, they start looking at countryside, and most of people are concerned about living not too crowded area, and also have outdoor space, which I think One Park actually at that time is a good call. They have beautiful view and they're not far from the city, and they have every unit, I think they have balcony and with water view, so 40 minutes to Wall Street. So like those kind of products is a good call in this period of time. And so, yeah.
Go ahead. I think that's a good segue, Taryn, as the director of sales at One Park. Are you seeing some similar trends?
So One Park, we have seen always the Manhattan buyer taking a look at New Jersey and kind of dipping their toe in the water. We have a great location at One Park, very convenient to Manhattan. We also see that there are a lot of empty nesters coming from places like Bergen County, New Jersey, that have maybe a 5,000 square foot home where they're looking to downsize and still want that kind of balance between the suburbs and the city. And you get a lot of that at One Park because we are so centrally located. So we do see a bit of a variety of people coming from the suburbs closer to the city, and then also looking for that stopgap where they're not fully comfortable moving out of an urban environment and going full on into the suburbs. And areas like Cliffside Park give you that great balance.
Anthony, as somebody who you work with so many agents and brokers all over the New York area, what have you been seeing? Anthony, your mic is on mute.
Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. Obviously, Taryn and Nikki and Emma, you know, they have the numbers and the facts. I lived in Westchester County all my life, and I used to travel down into the city. So based on my relationships with a lot of brokers, the answer is yes, they are leaving the city and they are coming up to Westchester. They're going outside to New Jersey. And I tell you, and especially what's going on today with the COVID and what's happening with riots and all, I would prefer to live like at One Park in New Jersey. It's a safe peace of mind for me to be there, but to be also very close to the city. Westchester was a hike, and that was a pain to get down to the city, of course. But if I worked in the city, I would prefer to live, whether it is Long Island City, what's happening, or New Jersey, what's happening. They're great options. They're great tools. And and again, what I've been hearing is that, yes, a lot of people have been looking. Westchester is booming, and New Jersey, of course, is happening. But again, that's my thinking, Richard.
So my next question then would be, with so many buyers who might be considering the shift, obviously the amenities and the features that they're looking for in properties might be changing as well. So I would ask Nikki, Cathy, and Taryn, are you seeing any changes in the types of amenities or features that buyers are looking for right now? We'll start with Nikki.
Definitely. As I earlier mentioned, people are rethinking their lifestyles and what is now important to them. I'm a strong believer that New York will survive stronger than ever. New York is still the epicenter of the world, and although we've taken a hit as previously, we'll be coming back, I truly believe, stronger than ever. Amenities that have definitely been in the forefront of my conversations with my clients. Emma hit it right out of the box at the beginning. Outside space, terraces. Number one, they want breathable air. So many of us have been trapped in our quarantine in the four walls of our home, somewhat afraid, or at least being cautious about going outside. That outside air, and as the scientists are saying over and over again, the protection of that free air is a huge advantage to weathering through this virus now, and perhaps if there's one in the future. So we have clients asking for terraces, outside space, gardens. Townhouses are rising again, tremendous amount of interest in townhouses. But the number one amenity still is proximity to New York. if I am going to be in the city or continue to work in the city, I have to be close enough to hit all of the important bullets of what my family needs for a safe and healthy lifestyle, but yet commutable to the city that I love, the city that I'm working in, the city that I want to take advantage of and support all of the suppliers. Additional amenities that we hear of on a regular basis is proximity to good schools, because many of these young families who are considering moving are going to be uprooting their children from schools, and they truly want to stay in the Northeast area, in the New York area specifically region, and they need to know if they're going to be taking them out of private schools or New York City schools, that they're going to have a good, strong, equal education for their children. I mentioned in the speech that I was on yesterday that New Yorkers are upside down right now. They're looking at places they never looked at before. I have people that are looking on Long Island, New Jersey, and Westchester, and they don't have a real connection to any three. They just know that in a perfect world, living close enough to the city to access it, because that's where their heart is their new priority. Thus, I was really pleased that Taryn introduced me to One Park. It's certainly something that I am, as everybody else on this call is doing, taking a deeper look at and focusing on the right clients to offer it to. Sorry for the long answer, but that's what we're hearing on a regular daily basis.
So Cathy, as a designer, you literally are an integral part of people's road to their dream home. So I'm wondering if you've seen from your clients any changes in what they're looking for in a space.
Well, so many of my clients, they really want healthy environments. I think that was really a strong trend beginning almost a decade ago, when people wanted green materials, and they want organic cottons, and they want fresh air, and they want lots of sunlight. And so people still really want that. But what they also want is flexibility and creativity with their space. With everyone being home, they're starting to really understand what it means to nest. And with the need for a private space, we are seeing a lot of interest in creating what we call zones, a place to play, a place to lounge, a place to sleep, a place to rest within the same space. And so we have to be very flexible as to how we design these spaces, because people are not looking to necessarily change how they live or where they live, but they want to change how the environment works for them. And they're looking for different flexibility as it relates to that. And so I think that that's what my skill set is as a designer, is being able to work within that space and make it really functional and flexible at the same time.
So Taryn, as the director of sales at One Park, we know that condos there have been selling during COVID-19. So what is it, do you think, about the amenities and the shift in what consumers are looking for that's kind of changing that dynamic in the market? Taryn, can you hear us? She might be on mute. Okay, we'll wait until Taryn can rejoin us. And in the meantime, it actually leads right into my next question, which was the shifts between buying and renting. Obviously, as people reevaluate where they're living and what they're looking for, this is probably part of the equation. And there are also a lot of favorable terms in the market right now, whether you're buying or renting. So Nikki, Emma, and then Taryn, if we have her on the line, could you speak a little bit to kind of what consumers are looking for right now between buying and renting? We'll start with Nikki.
I definitely can speak to that, because this has been a great deal of conversation as people are kicking the tires on all their options right now. This is, and I cannot emphasize this stronger, the #1 best buying environment of our generation. There has been a huge hit to the U.S. market in particular. And for those that continue to believe in the health of our country and the future for their family, this is the opportunity to buy now, buy below value, and buy better than they had hoped or even dreamed to live in. And what do I mean by that? People that have called me and asked rental versus purchase, they're well aware of the interest rates. They're well aware of the attractive opportunities being offered in the market by sellers. They're well aware of their buying power, which far outperforms their leasing power. It also gives them, as Cathy really talked about, a sense of well-being and health and safety. And this is what they lead with right now. Where are we going to be able to continue our lives, whether it's with children or as empty nesters, or just starting off in life in the most comfortable, safest, and best arena we possibly can. So value is important. My buyers have done something really interesting. Instead of coming in with looking at second and third tier properties right now, they're going for prime. They want the amenities. They want, in many cases, new built. They want all the bells and whistles because now they can afford it. And this is, as I said earlier, a window of opportunity. As with prior economic crisis in New York, there is a quarter or two at the most where there are seemingly distressed opportunities as well as value and below value opportunities. The fuel in the market will begin. The engine will start up again. The inventory will go down. Buyers will then follow the inventory as it goes down and prices will go up. So if you have identified a quality opportunity at a fair price in the proximity of New York that gives you a comfort level to invest in, this is the time.
Emma, have you seen anything similar as far as buying versus renting?
Yes, definitely. Like Nikki said, it's great time to enter the market to buy. And most of my client concern and my suggestion is because of the mortgage rate is historic low, so you got to take advantage of that. So like the mortgage, I think that's 2.6, something around, and like a 15 years mortgage. And also at that time, and you're definitely looking in the market to buy. The other reason is so the price it won't be too high. So I know everybody knows. So in the 10 years from 2010 to 2018, that price already very high. So now it's time to look at the market, yes, and grab some good deals. And especially in the Corona pandemic time, so the economy get down, and lots of people lost jobs, and so lots of families economically get hit, and so that's the time people maybe start going to sell their home and switch to rent temporarily. And so that's the time for my international buyers. It's great time to enter the market. So grab good deals. That's how I see it.
Excellent. Taryn, are you back with us?
I am.
Perfect.
Some technical difficulties.
No worries. No worries. So I'm wondering to get your perspective then between buying and renting.
Sure. When the pandemic first opened up, I feel as though we received a bit of an influx in terms of interest in renting. But Nikki, I think, hit the nail on the head earlier when we were chatting offline that the spring market is definitely not canceled. It was just on a little bit of a rain delay, like a baseball game. So we had to take a little bit of a step back. And I feel that now that we have kind of processed through the COVID-19 pandemic and we're at the point we're at, we have seen an increase in traffic dramatically at One Park to the tune of putting 3 units in contract in the last 4 days. So buyers are out there, buyers are excited. There is a lot of confidence in the market in New Jersey. So we haven't checked out, and while people are always going to rent, there's always going to be people who need and want to move, especially after they've been cooped up for as long as they have been.
So that's a good segue into my next question, because the buyers are out there, the renters are out there, and I'm wondering. I'll go to Nikki and Emma first, and then Cathy, we can touch on the design aspect. What are you doing in your business to be able to help these consumers with finding new homes, given the environment, given the lockdown, social distancing? Have you seen any changes in how the buying process works? We'll go to Nikki first.
Definitely, we try to.
I think Nikki, I think your mic is on mute.
What?
I apologize.
Sure.
Are you ready for me? So
Yeah,
sorry.
we'll go to Nikki first, and then we'll go to Emma.
Okay, go ahead, Nikki.
We've definitely seen a change. Shopping is upside down. Everyone is doing it in a different way, whether it's having your groceries delivered, living off of Amazon, Netflix. The consumer is buying differently, and real estate has become a really welcome pastime during this period of quarantine. Buyers were well versed and well researched before COVID-19, but more so now. They have had the time and they've had the access to investigate everything. And now we're not just talking about their neighborhood and their price point. We're talking about looking at other neighborhoods and other cities, other price points, and other types of lifestyles. In doing this, and don't forget, the buyers are just really focused on what they're looking for, what they can afford, and what their goals are. So they drill very deeply into the opportunities that are afforded them. They then come to their real estate advisors, and that's what we are. So many people think that real estate brokers are sellers. We're not. We're advisors. We're only as good as our information. We're only as good as our access. We're only as good as the relationships we have. So they want to know what they should be doing in our perspective. And that is a long series of conversations to really drill into what they are feeling and thinking at the moment. And what we hear is, I'm looking at virtual tours, I'm looking at photographs, I'm looking at mapping, I'm reading about neighborhoods, I'm very, very focused on other areas. And this is something that I've never dealt with before. I mean, I've been heralding the strength of Manhattan for over 20 years, and that's pretty easy. It's an automatic plug-in. I have to be very, very, very keenly aware of what's going on around me in different regions and know who the best advisors are in those regions. So once our clients, and I deal mostly with luxury clients, say, I'm interested in, let's say, as close as possible, perhaps New Jersey, I need some advice on that. I'll share the limited information that I have, and then I need to introduce them to another real estate advisor in these communities who take it from there. They're then delivering their trust to another person, another specialist, another advisor, and we hope that we're giving them everything they need to make a decision.
Perfect. Emma, sorry for the mix up with the microphones there. What have you seen as far as changes in the buying process, and how are you still helping consumers with finding a home during the lockdown?
I think in the industry now, everybody doing the same thing, like the visual tool. So we try to collect videos as many as possible from the property owners, since we locked down, not able to show in person. and not able to enter the property. So normally the owner help us or the current tenant help us to make some videos. So definitely, if the visual tour is the time for showing. And second of all, and my investors start looking at countryside, like what I said before. And so what we do is, so we drive separate cars, which never happened. So they drive their own car, we drive our car. So we just follow each other, you know, checking out the area like Westchester, Long Island. So checking out all the neighborhoods like Waterview, nearby the water, or school district, those kind of areas. So we can do. That's how it looks, the change. So that will happen, as I said, you know, we never drive separately, you know, and also you cannot enter the house together, you know, we got to wait outside. And so which challenge the agent and need to do lots of homework. You got to study the neighborhood, the transportation, and the property, historical recorder, and what is inside. And so before take client there, so you need lots of communicating with the listing broker, get to know all the details. So because again, you cannot keep company with the investor get into the house. So that's the story at that moment.
So Cathy, as a designer, people are still buying homes, so they still need to design their homes, or they will once the lockdown ends. So what are you doing in your business to be able to still help them?
Well, Richard, my business is predominantly a staging company. We actually don't do much interior design, so it's very relevant to how the process has changed. So typically, we have an agent who calls us and says, we need to have you come in and see the property. It's called a walkthrough, and give us a quote so that we can stage it to sell it. Now, people still have the need because they want to be ready for when the market opens up. And so we're now saying, touching upon what Emma said, we can give you a quote by giving you a virtual consultation. And essentially, we're now having sellers send video to us, or they are giving us photographs from all four corners of the room, and then standing in the middle of the room and giving us a 360 with their cell phones in order to give us an accurate view. And then we give the quote to the agent so that when the market opens up again, they'll be ready. So we're having to do everything virtually. There are still agents who want us to stage. And we can't get into these buildings because we're considered a third-party vendor and we can't get into the buildings to stage. So what we're doing is two things. Number one, when it comes to a vacant, the minute we are able to go in, we're going to be able to go in and actually place our furniture like we normally would. But in the case of an occupied property where someone lives in it, a lot of agents have told me that these sellers don't want showings. They don't want someone in their home. They don't even want a stager. They don't want a painter. They don't want a mover. And so we're having to shift and offer remote staging. And the way that works for us is essentially we're creating these mood boards in which every item is shoppable, and someone can then get those items delivered to their home. We'll give them a guide, and then they can stage themselves in the case of an occupied. So I think this virtual realm as it relates to staging and marketing, that's essentially how we've seen the whole landscape change. And it's through video, essentially.
Interesting. So I wonder then, we'll tackle the flip side of that, which is how the industry is handling all of these new changes, and obviously connecting with people and networking is key to building a business in the real estate industry. So with the implementation of social distancing, and I'll give this question to Anthony and then to Cathy, with social distancing and with all these changes, what are ways that people within the industry can still connect and network? We'll go to Anthony first.
Should I go? You want to go with me first? Well, guys, the number one thing that we're doing right now, and is what many of us are doing already, is the virtual meeting conferences. I think this is such a great idea, great thing that Zoom came up with. I mean, it's kind of easy. It makes everybody feel as though they're some type of an event planner, and it's exciting and it's working. So this is like a wake-up call for all of us. And even if things do get back to normal, we're going to continue doing these Zoom meetings. They're great, especially with our sponsors. They're excited about it. They don't have a big database. We have roughly about a total of 80 to 90,000 data in our system. And of course, I'm working with my marketing director, Julie Duquette, and in aligning ourselves up with ideas, coming out with a menu of all the different services that we offer. So again, this is just a wake-up call for many of us on new ideas and definitely advertising in order to survive. And again, like I said, we already aligned ourselves up with a tremendous amount of speakers, and we're going to be rolling it out with all the different topics and write-ups. I truly believe there's no substitute to a handshake, and it is sad. Many of us love the breakfast meetings, the B&I meetings, the lunch meetings, the dinners, the networking groups, of course, conventions. My life is all about going to other conventions and meeting other exhibitors to buy into our expo. So that's my life. So how am I surviving? And how are we reinventing the wheel here at the expo is a number of things. Again, the virtual meetings like this. We also have a newsletter, and Google will also teach you about how to put a newsletter together. We align ourselves up with other media organizations like the Commercial Observer, the New York Real Estate Journal, the Habitat Magazine, Jeff Mann, the Real Estate Weekly. So we asked permission to print their articles, and we designed a newsletter. And then, of course, we have our sponsors go on to that newsletter. So instead of just sending out a blast about us, we're sending out information, informative information that people want to read because they're going to opt out if they don't like this. They don't want to see a lot of stuff just on you. They want to see a lot of different stuff. So we add videos to it as well, and we add company logos with their links so they people can look into their companies. The newsletters is important. Email blasting. Again, we align the email blasting with our newsletter because we don't want to blast out just stuff on ourselves, but dissect all the papers. I mean, the way I survive is I dissect every single paper, and whoever's advertising, they're capable of being a sponsor or an exhibitor at our expo. So do your homework. This is a time of researching, read, acquire knowledge and read up. And we're going after those, and I'm building up my data from my contacts. Videos, huge. I mean, Cathy's doing videos on the buildings itself. We kind of specialize on custom videos. And we also specialize when you're at the expo interviewing videos. Many people want to come to our shows and they don't want to exhibit. They just want to come on over there and be interviewed by Cathy Hobbs, and who's such a, to us, it's a blessing just to have her there at our trade show to interview these attendees and these sponsors. And a lot of those people want that type of video just to get it and put it on their signature and put it on their website and blast it out because it's their time to shine. We also have the custom videos, we have the interviewing videos, and we have now the virtual videos. I align myself up with Illustrate Multimedia, Julie Duquette, and she's a star in her business, and we're very blessed to have her as well. Online directories is another way of doing something. This is something new that we're rolling out in August, which all you will see very soon. It's just like a big media journal of all the professional businesses. Post on your LinkedIn, post on your Twitter, post on your Instagram. This post, we love LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is very interesting. In our database, when people get fired and let go, it becomes a dead file. But LinkedIn, they recapture the new business and they upload it. So we believe in LinkedIn, and it's also worldwide. We're getting calls from Germany, Australia, China. We're getting calls from Russia that people want to get involved with our trade show, because New York City is like Morocco. It's very special. People want to come here. They want to be a part. They want to capture this business. So LinkedIn, I find that extremely valuable. I'm old-fashioned. Call your clients. Give them a call. Pick up the phone. Give them a call. I love to talk to a client. And I even love to talk to their voicemail. So it's so important to just not just do emails, but just to pick up the call and let them know what you're doing. And lastly, if all fails, Richard, then we go to what's called a virtual expo platform. It's like you're walking in a building, you're a little person, and you open up the doors, you speak to all the exhibitors, and you go into the rooms of all the auditorium lectures. So if all fails, that's where we go. So hopefully we're hoping and praying that the expo will be November 2nd. If it doesn't, it'll be converted to June 23rd. And if that fails and there's still viruses and problems, then we're going to go into a virtual reality platform trade show. Sorry, guys, if that was too long, but thank you, Richard.
Perfect. Cathy, how are you still connecting and networking?
Well, here's my thought. Someone said to me, do you think that, Zoom is here to stay? You have all this experience in television. What are your thoughts about video? And I said, it reminded me of when I first saw a cell phone. I'm dating myself here. It was 1990, and I was on the campus of the University of Southern California, and I saw someone holding a cell phone. I said, oh my God, she's holding it and talking. And that's how I feel about video, and especially platforms such as this. I have almost daily conversations with my financial advisor, my CPA. And they said to me this week, they said, Cathy, I think that we're able to do trades. We're able to communicate with our teams from home. We're able to function. I don't think I'll go back to an office 5 days a week ever again. I think that people in some way are liking the convenience of being able to communicate in a virtual way. They're on 5 meetings a day, some, back to back, because they're able to do it virtually. I also have seen a tremendous value in social media, and Instagram especially, as it relates to being able to do Instagram lives and posts. And I think it's so tailor-made to real estate, in addition to other platforms such as YouTube and LinkedIn, and even Facebook with Facebook and Facebook Live. And I think one of the things that was impressive, Taryn and I were talking, and we were talking as a group yesterday about how One Park was able to bring potential buyers into the space through virtual tours. And I think that that's really the key to video. I think it'll help agents better vet potential buyers, and for those buyers to even be able to vet out properties and say, what, I've taken a look at that virtual tour and I don't think it's for me. Or I've really taken a look at that virtual tour. I'd like to make that one special appointment to see it. And so I really think that the virtual aspect is going to be key, and the key is really going to be video. I really believe it.
So for the next question, we're going to ask everybody to get out their crystal balls and give us, and this question will go to everybody, so we'll go down the line. Where do you think the market is going to be in New York City, the New York metro area? Where do you think the market's going to be over the next 6 to 12 months? Does supply go up or down? Do prices go up or down? We just want to get everybody's high level thoughts briefly, and we'll start with Nikki.
Okay, I'll start off as a typical optimistic broker. I firmly believe that with every challenge comes great opportunity. This is great. This is a time of great opportunity for people in my industry, as well as buyers and sellers in Manhattan. The change is good. We've all discussed how our clients and we ourselves have taken this time to increase our skill sets, do additional research, increase the level of our contacts and works, given the time we have and the Zoom opportunity. We are primed at the gate to get out of this market running fast and running hard with a tremendous amount of greater information, knowledge, and let me just add empathy. We've had to take a pause here and not only value and with great gratitude the safety of our own lives and our families and friends, but the how we are exiting this in better and stronger shape than we were before. I believe that it's been an insightful time for people to truly understand the value of home and hearth. And it's going to be a renewed focus on finding, securing, enjoying, decorating, entertaining in our homes. Again, homes will become the #1 most coveted product of anyone's life universally. So I believe short-term forecasting is obviously quite difficult in this environment. Really means nothing because we don't know for certain how we're going to exit COVID-19. But I believe given the new focus and new perspective of literally everyone on the planet, we're going to be finding that the home industry is going to be the most important, sought after, and researched and valued of all consumer products. So I'm very bullish on the next 6 months. I believe, as I mentioned earlier, that the opportunists will be taking great advantage of real estate around the world. It'll last for a quarter or two. We will then have the fuel in the market. Owner users will have exhausted their rental stay and in their temporary environment. They'll be looking at permanence again. And I truly believe by January 2021, we'll be seeing a very healthy, strong, vibrant real estate market again. I hope I'm correct.
Emma, what do you think?
I think people should start looking at the market, and in the next half year, I think it's great time to start buying, and because now even it's a pandemic, so people panic, and but they always say it's when there is a risk, also there is an opportunity. So this is how I see the pandemic. So it's an opportunity for investors to find a good property and good value to enter the market. And also, I think people start looking at for the people going to living there, so they should think about living and working together in one home. Before, what I said to my clients, like me as well, living in the city, Manhattan, so home to me is just sleeping, because most of the time when running around and enjoy the city a lot, there are a lot of entertainment, restaurants, bars, and the theater, and park everywhere, But nowadays, so people lifestyle going to change. So home become, you have to consider living and working. So this is what I consider going to be changed for the future market. So there is space, like in the city, we always have a apartment called the den area. Before, maybe people didn't think the den how important in the layout. No, but nowadays it's going to change. As a den, as an office area, is important. And also my investors, before they consider the amenities a lot, like swimming pool, gym, fancy gym, I think that's going to put on the not the priority anymore, and so reduce the public gathering. That is another concern.
Got it.
Great. Thank you.
I'll go to Taryn next. What do you think, Taryn?
Well, I think that any sort of change is going to foster some sort of growth. And through this time, what I've noticed, even on things like today with these Zoom calls, we are able to, in the real estate industry, grow our market virtually. So I'm now able to work hand in hand with Nikki and Emma and help them service their clients when we are separated by the Hudson River, and we can hop on a Zoom call and talk about one park or other buildings or what their clients' needs are and really take them to the finish line without ever having to meet each other. So those market boundaries that we may have felt before have been blurred and kind of brought down, and it opens things up for us as brokers with these changes to our marketplace on how we're able to conduct business and cooperate with one another. So our one market, and it just helps us. So we're then also to kind of become more advisors to our clients through the networks that we've leveraged within this time, because they're also able to shop online and really put an importance on what they need in their next home. So whether it be an amazing design, outdoor space, a view, amenities, we're able to calculate all of that and work together as brokers to get the client what they need. And that's our job. We are in a service industry.
Perfect. So in the interest of time, because we are cutting it a little bit close, and I also want to make sure we get to the Q&A, I'm going to jump to the next question, which is also for everybody, and we'll go rapid fire. For those looking to get into the real estate industry, I'd like to get everybody's opinion. Just give 3 things briefly. What are 3 things that you think every young professional should know about getting into real estate, especially right now? And I'll start with Nikki.
Oh, keep the faith. I strongly believe that this is an opportunity of young professionals new to our field to galvanize and outmaneuver, outproduce, and outsell many of us old timers. It is equal footing right now. We've all been on the same sabbatical. Hopefully, those of you just in the industry have been doing your research and networking as we have. And we all know the same thing. We do not know what the world's going to look like at the exit of COVID-19. I think newer, often younger people in the real estate industry have a deeper comfort level with technology and a faster use of it and more options at their disposal. I truly see them as having a decided advantage in the real estate world. They are going to have to pivot from whatever skill sets they had when they began in this industry, try to forecast where it's going, specialize in what's going to be needed, and follow the money. That's my advice.
We'll go to Emma next. 3 things.
Yeah, so the coronavirus pandemic is not only change people how to live, and also shape up the real estate agent working style. And so this is what I put. So that's going to grow a new generation for the professionals. So they challenge them to shape up like how to use social media. So be creative, do a lot of research, and learn the new lifestyle, the trendy. This is what I suggest the new generation real estate professionals to do, especially use the social media platform and be creative.
Got it. Okay, Cathy.
I think that technology is going to be key. I think educating yourself on how to use the latest technology from video to 360 to social media. I think you're going to need to basically expand your pool of applicants, so to speak, the areas where you're reaching out to, whether it's through databases, CRMs, how you connect with people, whether virtually or in person. I think all of those are going to be very, very important.
Got it. Okay, so we have 4 minutes to go, and I do want to get to some of these questions. So if you guys don't mind, I'll start bringing up some of the questions that we have from viewers and tackle. At least we'll try to tackle a couple of them before 11 o'clock. The first question comes from somebody who's asking, is the Manhattan luxury market down because of a COVID correction? Or is it actually going to be even or moving upwards because of the scarcity of properties combined with cheap mortgage rates? So for that question, we'll go to our two resident New York City brokers, Nikki and Emma. Emma, do you want to start it off?
Unfortunately, the luxury market is in the city, the prices get down. And for example, I have a listing in Byron, condominium, a 3-bedroom. So during the pandemic, so people come to me, say they want to give me only 5 million. I said, why you be offered that price? They said, because the amenities is not going to be useful anymore. So this is one of the reasons. And also, plus the market, luxury market, before even the pandemic, already on the downtrend. So already get down. So because the inventory and the economic concern and political not stable situation. So to my international investors, that's the several concerns. So they not paying big price.
Got it. And Nikki, what do you think?
Well, the truth is the truth. In Manhattan, our sales March, April, and well into May now are down 82%. That's our volume. Our inventory is down 73% inventory. Now, why is there so little inventory when there are so many people that were prior selling, and we have identified there'll be more people now because of this incident wanting to sell? Quiet or ghost inventory or inventory that's off the market is directly related to sellers' expectations. It's off the market because they do not want to sell in this environment. They do not want to take that price correction, and they do not intend to when they relist. Great values today are things that are actively listed and being offered. And most people that I'm working with are looking at new development. This is where we have practical sponsors, sellers, and lenders. They have priced to the current market conditions. They are offering true value. They are not greedy. They're just selling good product and trying to sell it quickly. So if you can identify a property, and there are many of them in our area, and obviously our host today, One Park, is a great example of this. They're 40% sold, they're occupied, they're up and running, they're at fair, extraordinarily fair prices that make Manhattan prices look ridiculous. So what I do know in this market is that mortgage rates will continue to be the catalyst for people entering real estate investments as well as increasing their real estate investments. Again, it is the perfect storm to buy well, buy now, and buy value.
Got it. So I'll stay with you, Nikki, because one of our viewers actually had a question that's for you. Following up on the point I think you made earlier in the show about how this is actually a great opportunity to be buying right now. This viewer is asking, what is the expected window of opportunity for buyers? And I guess how long is that window?
Okay, I touched on that a bit earlier, and I'll just repeat myself. We only know what's happened before. In order to understand where we're going, we must look to history. And that's the best we can do right now to forecast. 9/11 was a perfect example. It was a threat not only to our economy, but to our safety in New York. And that's as similar an experience as we've had related to COVID. In September, the market froze everywhere, specifically in New York. It only took a month until some brave, forward-thinking buyer bought one of the penthouses at Time Warner, $48 million contract, 1 month to the day after 9/11. What did that say? It was a great purchase, obviously, made for a lot of press, but it said that someone had a really positive opinion and perspective about the health of New York and the future of it. I feel very, very strongly that this will be replayed in this incident. We will have this moment of pause while things settle in upon our reopening. There'll be an awkwardness of incorrect pricing, incorrect expectations from sellers. That too then will be balanced out as sellers have to embrace the new values. And if they're going to sell, accept the new values and the offers that come with them. That will generate the fuel. January 2020, all things being as we looking at them now, we should be seeing the balance starting to tip in the favor of sellers, prices starting again to climb as it has in our past. If we look to history, we can generally always find the security of the future.
We're 2 minutes over. I'm going to go to one more question. We had somebody who asked about the metrics for setting prices and how that might change after COVID. I'll put this question to Taryn. You can close us out. Do you think there are going to be any changes in the metrics that are used to set prices in the market post-COVID?
It's all going to come down to supply and demand. And, we have a lot of different factors that are kind of changing and moving within the marketplace right now. And what I like to advise clients is we look at what pricing almost as a tool in our marketing tool belt. And the price and our pricing strategy are two different things because we can't necessarily predict the price your home is going to sell for. But what we can do is use pricing as a strategy to place your home thoughtfully within the market. So that is going to be a conversation that is going to modify and change as we come out of this to see what the market has to offer buyers at that time. And those types of conversations are going to be a little bit more in depth, in my opinion, as we start to come out of this, because there is going to be a need for us as real estate advisors to guide clients accordingly and really take the time to position properties thoughtfully with pricing.
Perfect. So I'm going to wrap it up there. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. For anybody who jumped on late, there is going to be a recording of this episode on the One Park Condos YouTube channel. So you can find that by going to YouTube and typing in One Park Condos. You can also find a link to it on the One Park website, which is oneparkcondosnj.com. This is the 5th and the final episode of the Roundtable series. So you can also go to the YouTube channel to find any of the previous episodes as well. So once again, I just want to thank all of our panelists for joining us today. I think this was a great discussion. I hope everybody found it valuable. Stay safe, and hopefully we'll be able to get together again soon for another conversation. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Richard.